The ground tilts away almost at once, and the path drops toward a hidden fold in the land. This is Battle Creek Regional Park, spread across the cities of St. Paul and Maplewood in Ramsey County, Minnesota. Under our feet, the trail carries a name that remembers a fight from 1842, long before any of these paved miles were laid. We are walking into deep wooded ravines, a working creek and restored grassland, all within sight of a great city. Come with me and let the quiet do the talking. Battle Creek Regional Park sits on the east side of the Mississippi River, folded into the bluffs above St. Paul. The park has grown to nearly 2,000 acres of woodland, wetland, grassland, and creek. It is threaded by roughly 4 miles of paved hiking and biking trail, along with off-road cycling routes, a cross-country ski network, and a dog park. The land is not flat. It is cut and carved, and that shape is the whole story of the place. The trail bends and begins to lose height, and the noise of the road falls away behind us. Cool air rises from below, the way it always does where deep ground holds the shade. These slopes were shaped by water working patiently through soft stone. Each step down feels like stepping backward in time. The city is only minutes away, yet it might as well be another country. The park is best known for its ravines, steep wooded clefts where the land drops sharply toward the creek. Battle Creek cuts a wide gorge through the Sandstone Bluffs, carrying the marks of long, slow erosion. Oak and second-growth woods lean over the edges, holding the soil in place with old roots. In the bottom, sound behaves strangely, softened and pooled between the walls. It is the most sheltered ground in the whole park. Down here the trail runs level for a while, following the shape of the fold. The light comes filtered and green, broken into moving pieces by the canopy above. Roots cross the path like the ribs of something sleeping. It is the kind of place that asks you to slow your pace without saying a word. So we do. Battle Creek itself is a modest stream, but it is the reason all of this exists. It rises in Battle Creek Lake over in Woodbury, then passes through residential Maplewood and St. Paul on its way west. In the end, it reaches the Mississippi River by way of Pig's Eye Lake, closing a short and busy journey. For much of that length, walking paths follow the water closely. The creek is small, patient, and completely in charge of the land it made. Where the trail nears the water, you can read the work of the creek in the banks. Soft sandstone gives way easily, and season after season the channel deepens and shifts. This is erosion made visible, slow enough to miss in a lifetime yet plain in the shape of the gorge. The most scenic stretch lies in the lower creek, between Highway 61 and Upper Afton Road. Many call it one of the loveliest corners in the whole Twin Cities. Climbing back out of the ravine, we enter the oak woods that crown the higher ground. Much of the park is oak forest, old fields and second-growth timber, more than 750 acres of it in the wooded core. Oaks are patient trees, slow to grow and slow to give up their leaves. In autumn, they hold their color long after the maples have let go. Their acorns feed the deer, the turkeys, and 100 smaller lives we never see. On top, the walking is easier, the path broad and gently rolling along the ridge. Here the trees stand a little apart and light reaches all the way to the ground. That spacing is not an accident. It is the signature of an older kind of Minnesota landscape, one the park is working to bring back. We are walking, in a sense, toward the past. Before European settlement, much of this region wore a coat of oak savanna, scattered trees standing over open grassland. It is a rare habitat now, squeezed out by farms, roads, and shade-loving forest. At Battle Creek, crews are restoring roughly 200 acres of prairie and oak savanna together. The goal is to knit back a landscape that supports birds, insects, and plants of the greatest conservation need. A savanna is neither field nor forest, but a graceful bargain between the two. The trail leads out of the trees and into a widening opening, and the sky suddenly feels close. Grasses brush the edges of the path, moving in a wind that never reaches the ravine floor. This is land being coaxed, slowly, back toward what it once was. Restoration is not a single act but a long conversation with the ground. You can feel the patience of it here. Into the restored openings, workers have added about 47 additional species of native grasses and wildflowers. These plantings are chosen to draw back the bees, the butterflies, and the ground nesting birds that vanished with the plow. Deep prairie roots hold water and soil, quietly guarding the ravines below from washing away. Every bloom here is doing a job as well as being beautiful. The prairie is a machine disguised as a meadow. By late summer, the grasses stand tall, gone gold and copper at the tips. Seed heads nod along the trail, heavy with next year written inside them. Grasshoppers scatter at each footfall, and somewhere a sparrow scolds from a low perch. This is the park at its most alive, though the show is quiet and easy to miss. You only have to stop and look. To understand the park's name, we have to cross the river in our minds to the village of Kaposia. Kaposia was a Dakota community whose people lived, farmed, and fished along the Mississippi near here. Their gardens of corn stood close to the water, tended mostly by the women of the village. For generations, this was Dakota land, shaped by a deep and living knowledge of the river. The battle that named this creek began, as many do, with an ordinary morning in that garden. From the higher trails, you catch the lie of the land that mattered so much that day. The Dakota and the Ojibwe were long rivals, caught in a war that ran for generations across this country. Raiding parties moved through these bluffs and ravines, using the folds of the earth for cover. The very ground that shelters a hiker today once sheltered warriors. History is not somewhere else here. It is underfoot. On a day in 1842, about 100 Ojibwe warriors slipped into the deep ravine near the mouth of the creek. They hid in that wooded cleft on the east side of the Mississippi and waited for their moment. The same steepness that cools a modern trail once made a perfect place to lie unseen. Below them, unaware, 2 Dakota women were out hoeing corn in the morning. The ravine held its breath. The attackers opened fire on the 2 women, killing one and mortally wounding the other. The sound of the guns carried clearly to the village of Kaposia across the water. In moments, the quiet garden had become the edge of a battlefield. What began as an ambush was about to turn into a fight the attackers did not expect. The creek would carry the memory of it forever after. The Dakota warriors of Kaposia heard the shots and rushed to answer them. For roughly 2 hours, the 2 sides fought through these ravines and slopes, at times hand to hand. In the end, the Ojibwe were driven back, defeated and forced to withdraw. The Dakota pursued them for several miles, chasing the retreat toward the country near Stillwater. It was a hard day, paid for on both sides in lives. The numbers that come down to us are grim and imperfect, as such numbers always are. The Ojibwe are said to have lost 9 or 10 of their warriors in the fighting. The Dakota, though they held the field, suffered heavier losses of roughly 20. Soldiers from nearby Fort Snelling arrived only after the fighting was already over. From that single violent morning, a quiet creek took its lasting name. The pursuit toward Stillwater carried the violence away over the horizon, and the ravine fell silent again. For the Dakota of Kaposia, victory came wrapped in loss, and the war would grind on for years. Fort Snelling, the young military post downstream, stood as a reminder of a changing world. Within a few decades, treaties and removal would push the Dakota from these very bluffs. The land would keep the name, even as it lost the people who gave it meaning. We walk now through a place that carries all of this beneath an easy afternoon. It is worth holding both truths at once, the peace of the trail and the weight of its story. The ravines are beautiful precisely because they are honest about time. Nothing here pretends the past away. That is part of what makes the walking feel so grounded. Follow the creek far enough, and it delivers its small waters to the great river itself. Through Pig's Eye Lake, Battle Creek joins the Mississippi, the spine of the whole continent. Standing at that meeting, you feel how this modest stream is tied to a system that reaches the sea. Water from a lake in Woodbury ends up bound for the Gulf of Mexico. Every ravine in this park is a tiny thread in that enormous braid. People have gathered along these waters for far longer than any battle or any city. The river fed them, moved them, and gave them a place in the world. To walk here is to join a line of footsteps thousands of years deep. The trail is new, but the impulse to follow the water is very old. We are only the latest to answer it. The park as we know it began with an act of generosity in 1922. In that year, William McMurray donated an initial 25 acres to be kept as parkland. From that small seed, through later gifts and slow public purchase, Battle Creek Park grew to 846 acres. Later expansions carried it toward the nearly 2,000 acres we roam today. A single decision to protect a ravine echoed across a century. Everything comfortable about this trail rests on 100 years of quiet care. Someone graded these paths, cleared these fallen limbs, and drew the maps that guide us. A regional park is a promise renewed by each generation that chooses to keep it. It is easy to forget how much intention lies behind an afternoon like this, so we say a small thanks with our feet. The human story here reaches back far beyond the 1840s. Excavations near neighboring Fish Creek have uncovered artifacts from the late woodland period, dating from about 700 to 1100 of the Common Era. Archaeologists found ceramic pottery and stone tools, the marks of seasonal camps. People came to these ravines to gather food and shelter from the wind, just as wildlife does now. The pattern of life along this water is many centuries old. Pause a moment by the water and the layers of time seem to overlap. The same shelter that drew woodland campers still holds warmth against the cold. The same ravines that hid warriors still hide deer at dusk. Places like this do not forget. They simply wait to be noticed. The restoration work is meant, above all, to bring the living back in force. New Prairie and Savanna draw insects, and insects draw the birds that feed on them. Bluebirds, meadowlarks, and pollinators find footing again in ground that had gone quiet. Flowers follow, and with them the low, steady hum of a healthy field. A restored landscape is measured not in acres but in wings. The trail begins to climb, and the ravine releases us back toward the light and open sky. Legs feel the last pull of the slope, the honest tax of a place with real relief. Behind us, the creek keeps working, indifferent and faithful. Ahead, the ground levels toward the trailhead where we started. Every descent in this park is answered, sooner or later, by a climb. Look back once at the bluffs and you see the bones of the whole landscape. Beneath the soil and roots lies soft sandstone, laid down in an ancient sea and lifted into these hills. The creek has spent uncounted years carving its gorge through that stone, grain by patient grain. Everything else here, the ravines, the shade, the shelter, follows from that slow cut. To know the rock is to understand the park. The path smooths out, and the sounds of the city drift gently back into hearing. It is always a small surprise to surface from the ravine so close to streets and rooftops. That nearness is the quiet gift of a regional park, a wilderness tucked into a neighborhood. We carry the cool of the creek out with us into the ordinary day. The trail lets go, but it does not really leave you. Battle Creek Regional Park holds a great deal in a small space: deep ravines, a working creek, returning prairie, and a name born of a hard morning in 1842. It is a place where the land tells the truth about time, and where care keeps that truth open to anyone who walks in. From the Dakota gardens of Kaposia to the restored Savanna of today, the story here is one long, unbroken thread. If you found some quiet on this trail, carry it forward and share it. Thank you for watching. Follow for more of the trails of the world.